Hey, Raj, hey, Fede. It's the R&R show.
Well, let's change the show now. It's gonna be the R and F show.
The R and FU show.
For you show, yeah.
So, Raj, I wanted to hop on and ask you, what do you think the biggest thing in America, the biggest issue in America is right now?
So it's not the LGBTQ whatever acronym. It's gotten crazy. I don't even think it's like Ukraine, even though we're pumping them lots of money, or there's a bunch of stuff that you see in the media that I'm just like, that's all noise compared to the big issues. The biggest issue in America is the food. Okay, it's what we put in our body day in, day out. Actually, I have a tab here I can share. Give me a second. Let me share this video that I have that I was actually watching the other day.
Great, yeah.
Okay, can you hear it?
Turn now to a series of stories that we are doing this week on how U.S. food regulations have left American consumers exposed to chemicals and additives that have been banned in other countries. CBS's Holly Williams goes in depth to show us how some of these ingredients may be linked to cancer and other health-related issues.
From baguettes to focaccia, Europe is famous for its bread, but one ingredient is missing. Potassium bromate is a suspected carcinogen that's banned for human consumption in Europe as well as China and India, but legal in the US, where it's used by some food makers to strengthen dough and estimated to be present in over 100 products.
There is evidence that it may be toxic to human consumers, that it may even either initiate or promote the development of tumours.
Professor Eric Millstone is an expert on food additives and told us European countries take a much more cautious approach to food safety.
Can we say for sure that these differences in regulations mean that people in the US have developed cancers that they would not have developed if they'd been eating only in Europe?
I think that is almost certainly the conclusion that we could reach.
It's not just potassium bromate, but many other chemicals and substances that are banned here in Europe over health concerns, but considered safe by the FDA.
Do you think most Americans are aware that they're being exposed to substances that are viewed as dangerous over here?
They probably just think, well, if it's available and it's in the store, then it's probably fine.
Stacey McNamara is from upstate New York, but has been living in London for 10 years. She told us raising children on this side of the Atlantic has opened her eyes to what's allowed in food in the US. She has no plans to ever move back home.
And is food safety a part of that decision?
For sure, yeah. How am I going to protect my children when it's just everywhere?
In a statement to CBS News, the FDA said that when used properly, potassium bromate converts to a harmless substance during food production. But at the same time, Nora, it acknowledged that not all potassium bromate may convert, saying control measures can minimize the amount in food.
So let me tell you personal, it's anecdotal. If I eat bleached bread using that substance that they're mentioning, I break out horribly. In fact, you can see I have marks on my skin from the acne. In fact, I have some now because I end up eating. It's so hard to, if you eat bread, they'll sneak in there. So, but if I don't eat bread, I clear up. It goes away. Otherwise, I get cystic acne eating that stuff. So even if I'm eating bread that is not bleached, there's stuff in there that causes me to break out. So just some anecdotally, you know, I haven't done a wide study, but my own body, I know that a lot of the bread that I eat, some other of the food that I eat is just not good for me. Like it causes inflammation in my body and my skin. So, Fede, let me get your viewpoint. You're in Argentina. Is this substance legal there?
No, at least the ones I see on the video, no, they are all banned here.
So they're banned in not just Europe, it's banned in India, it's banned in China, it's banned in a lot of countries because they understand this causes cancer. This causes.
Did you try our bread when you came? Maybe you need to move here. I
did, and I didn't break out. So here's a funny story. I I cannot eat McDonald's. I cannot eat Carl's Jr. I cannot eat Taco Bell. I cannot eat Jack in the Box because they use horrible. They have like all the preservatives in there. If I go to Europe where it's banned, I can eat McDonald's, not break out. My skin clears up. Okay. Now imagine if some people will eat this stuff day in, day out. They're just beating their body up every single day. They're putting this small amount of poison in their body every single day. What happens is your body has to fight it. Okay. It's not like you hit your body and your body just gets rid of it. It has to recover, right? So nonstop beating on your body of poison every day. Instead of working on clearing out cancer cells, because the immune system, you get cancer in your body all the time. Okay. But your immune system goes in there, identifies those cells and removes them. But when it's busy fighting off constant bad food that you're feeding it, you're going to get tumors. You're going to get all these issues, right? So it's like just slowly poisoning yourself every single day, and it accumulates. And so that's why you see this epidemic of cancer, is because the food is bad. So so this is not a commercial for Burger King, but Burger King actually said, hey, we're gonna get rid of preservatives. And I was like, that's awesome. I can actually go and eat Burger King and not break out. So if I have fast food, I go to Burger King. I can't eat any of those unless I'm in Europe. So then I went, I come down to Argentina. I've been there 3 times. I go down there, and Fede is my official translator. Wherever we go, he's translating for me. There's a Burger King in the airport in Buenos Aires, and it said "Sans preservatives," meaning without preservatives. And I was like, dude, those preservatives are already illegal in Argentina. So what are you serving up now that's different? Like, this is just a marketing ploy. So I asked Bard, I said, Bard, what did they remove from the food to make it sans preservatives, considering most of the major ones are banned already? And I found out there's actually some pretty nasty preservatives that are not mentioned at all. Like they're actually still legal in Europe. Certain parts of Europe, like Sweden, Denmark, have made these illegal, but it's not all of Europe. So even in Europe, they're poisoning their people with certain preservatives. So what are these preservatives? And I apologize up front because these things are hard to fucking pronounce, man. Like I'm gonna end up butchering it. Actually, did I share that with you, Fede? The preservatives that are.
Yeah, I see they are.
There we go. Yes. So BHA, butylated hydroaxynosol, butylated hydrotonue, that's BHT, sodium benzoate, potassium sorbate, prolyte galate. Okay, so apologies, I butchered how to pronounce those. And what do these things cause? They cause cancer. In kids, they cause hyperactivity. So that whole rise in ADHD. Why are my kids so active? It's because of these hidden preservatives. You're poisoning your kids and you don't even know it, right? And there's no protection from the FDA. FDA is like, well, a little bit's okay, because if we gave you a lot, it'd be too obvious, right? And so mothers that are pregnant are eating this stuff, not knowing they're poisoning themselves and their babies, right? And so when the child comes out, they have issues, right? Even my nephew, he has like these conditions that's just like, it doesn't run in our family at all, but he has them. And so he has to be very careful what he eats. So I'm like, if you're going to eat fast food, you should probably just be eating Burger King, because these kids love fast food. So, Fede, did you know that you have certain preservatives that are allowed in your food, the fast food?
No, I didn't. I could imagine, but I didn't.
Who do you think would protect you from these preservatives?
The government.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
The government. Ralph, what do you think?
Should.
Yeah, I think it's so fast food it's gonna be all about money. Think about how long these foods will last with preservatives. You've seen videos of McDonald's has to be the worst. You've seen videos where McDonald's, burger and fries last 20 years in a
Now,
in
let
a
me
bag.
ask you this, Ralph. Why do you think they need to have the burger last 20 years?
Nobody needs to have a burger last 20 years, man. Like that, like
You know
it's
how
insane.
long it takes? How long does it take for the creation of the actual burger bun to consumption? Right? They don't
Yeah,
need it to last that long, but they pack it in with preservatives. Why?
man. You know, there are ways to get people addicted to foods,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times those ways get people sick. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I could only imagine that there's a long first off, there's always a line at McDonald's when the like front is closed. There's always a line at
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's when the front's closed. So
Isn't that funny though? I look at it and go like, these people are lining up to get poisoned, and they don't even know it. They're innocent. They're just trying to eat, but they are in line to get poisoned.
right. And I know when food lasts longer, it does bring down the price, the cost of whoever's selling the food, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so but when it still doesn't add up. You have a line of people continuously buying. Uh how long is that food gonna last? It's not like you have a bunch of avocados that go bad in like a matter of
Right.
hours, you know?
Right. Well, even with so let's look to the other side. Okay, so we know some people they saw that CBS thing and they're like, oh, the food's bad. If I am eating in the United States or certain countries, so now you're like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna live a life that's righteous. I'm gonna eat whole foods. I'm gonna eat organic. And what's the problem there? It's super expensive, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like so why is organic food, so expensive? Cost of labor, picking the food, transportation. I mean, processed food has to be transported just as much as whole foods, right? There's no difference there. In fact, I would argue that processed food has to go through a lot more than me picking an apple off of a tree and shipping it.
Yeah.
Right. So why is a apple that if you pick off of a tree that grew off the ground that you watered maybe some fertilizer, why is that $2.50 an apple, $3.50 an apple for an organic apple versus a hot dog which you can get at go to Costco $1.50?
It's like you're are you paying a fee to
poison yourself?
are you paying a fee to not poison yourself with the organic items, right? Like
yeah, that like
that's what it sounds like
if you just think about it, farming has been around a long time, right? We've been growing organic food for a very long time. If you go online and you look up AI or automation for agriculture, you will see some amazing tech. This tech. So one of the problems is weeds, right? You got to spray. We're not even going into talk about all the stuff that they put on the food to keep the bugs away from it because they want high yield. But they have tech now that will zap the bugs. They have tech now that will, if there's weeds, because they're spraying the food to get rid of the weeds, this thing will drive over it. It will identify where the weeds are and it will stomp them out without using any chemicals. Okay, really cool tech. We have this tech. This tech exists today. It's been around for a long time. Now, what's cheaper? Having a machine drive over the stuff or having someone, hand reach and try to pull those weeds? We can automate the entire system very easily from planting it to picking it, right? Fully automated, get rid of the labor cost altogether, right? Another thing that you had pointed out to me, Fede, when we talked earlier about this was, there's subsidies. We subsidize the bad food. Why? Why are we subsidizing the bad food? Doesn't make any sense. Well, shouldn't we be subsidizing the good food?
Yeah.
Another thing that you think about, there's 100 senators, there's 400 some odd Congress people in the US. How many of them ever go online or on their platform and say, you know what, the problem is the food, let's fix the food. Let's fix the thing that we put in our bodies every single day, multiple times a day, before we start talking about Ukraine, or we talk about all the distractions, right, from the major problems not talked about. It's almost like as soon as they're sworn in, like, here's a list of things you can't talk about, and don't ever talk about the food. Leave the food alone.
You can't help but to notice, and anybody who has eliminated these certain foods out of their diet, like wheat, things like that, a lot of people will say their allergies go away, right? Less doctor visits, less medication, less, your essentially your health gets better if you take out the foods that we're told to eat every day, So
we talked about this, right? Remember the
yeah,
food pyramid?
yeah.
The food pyramid. I don't know. Do you have this thing in Argentina? The food pyramid.
Yeah.
Tell me what it looks like in Argentina.
Let me see.
He just left. He's like, I don't want to talk about it.
He's like, let me see, exit, escape.
So I triggered him. He's coming back on. So
Sorry.
Yeah, we were laughing about it. It's like that triggered you. He started talking about the food pyramid. I'm out of this conversation. So, can you show it? Do you have a picture of the food pyramid in Argentina?
Yeah.
I want to compare it to what we were told as kids, what we should be eating, what we should not be eating. So for the food pyramid in the US, it would say like you need X amount of servings for each tier, right? At the top was like oils and sugar, right? Some of it's correct. Like you don't want that much sugar, but if you looked at every food that we can get the market, sugar is added to everything, right? They add it on bacon. They add it, you get orange juice. They add sugar to orange juice. Orange juice is already sweet. They add sugar to it. Mango juice, super sweet. They add sugar to it. Like they're just tacking sugar onto everything. So here, let's see. We got the food pyramid. And it's going to be in Spanish, right? So you guys have it all messed up too.
Yeah, you have bread and pasta. And
can you blow it up? Can you make it full screen? If you click it.
No. Yeah, that's the wrong button.
So just looking at this, you can see there's dairy. Is at the bottom, or is that water? Okay,
yeah,
water.
All right, water is at the very bottom.
Yeah, there's water at the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But then what
here
doesn't make sense
like,
is like
keep like.
So if you look at, I always ask the question like, what did our ancestors do? Before they even figure out how to do grain and mill, they're eating vegetables, right? Making bread is a process as opposed to like picking the food off the plant, right, and eating it.
Yeah.
So at the bottom should be water and fruits, vegetables.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that really something that we should be debating? Like, no, eat more bread. Meanwhile, we have diets that are like not eating bread.
Depending on your physical activity.
So there's a big argument with that because a lot of so if you look at it in terms of your body chemistry, a lot of people that take out bread, animal products, dairy, all that stuff, their calories decrease significantly, like get chopped in half sometimes, but they have more energy. They have more. They can actually be more physical
and sharper too. Your mental sharpness. And we also talked about like if you start fasting, you can start feeling your body is like a higher vibration, higher cycle. Yeah. You start feeling better when you stop eating because you stop poisoning yourself. Now, if you just kept eating super clean, farmers market organic food, you get the same effect.
But to sustain the 2,000 calories, you are right, Fede. The thing is, do we need to be at the 2,000 calories?
The reason we have to do 2,000 calories is because our food lacks nutrition. It's not like our ancestors when they ate something, they didn't have to eat too much to get full because they had a lot of nutrition. Now we're eating a lot of empty calories. So you need 2,000 calories, 3,000 calories, right? Depending on how big you are. Also.
To get, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it
you
depends
think,
on your weight. Yeah.
so you think, so, and the thing is, a lot of people, when we take out the dairy, animal products, bread, we find the more nutritious items. You guys think the more nutrition? I mean, well, I feel like nutritious items are out there. The nutrients we need are out there in the food.
Mhm.
It's weird, but we're taught something different. We're
What was
still
that,
kind of,
Ralph? What was that superfood that you had mentioned? Like,
so yeah, so there's superfood that I buy in powder form, so it lasts a long time, and you just scoop it into like a smoothie. So instead of taking vitamin supplements, I take a superfood powder. So I have a guy that I go to that has like organic superfoods. Like you'll find like moringa, it's like a strong, like nutritious, like spinach. So none of this stuff is GMO. It's basically gonna be like spirulina, chlorella, moringa, sea moss, different herbs. So just foods that are nutrient dense, right? But your body's gonna be able to absorb it because it's actually a food, you know. So if I'm fasting and I'm not getting those 2,000 calories, do a meal supplement with like blue green algae or whatever, and like greens in the smoothie. So I tend to have more energy that way. You know, like you're not in that like that sluggish state, or you don't have to have like coffee. You know, like when I do that, when I fast for about 3 days, after the second or third day, I don't need a coffee. Like my sleep's better, I wake up better. You know, so there's a big difference in your thinking and your energy when you get proper nutrients, but decrease your animal products as well, and take out all the preservatives. You know,
Let me ask you this. Before we had this epidemic of obesity, right? It's pretty much all over the place, all over the world, because it's been all westernized, right? We're pushing these preservatives everywhere. Now there's the argument like, hey, you're fat, it's your fault, right? Now let's say that the food is not as nutritious. There's these preservatives in there that are bad for you. You know, you're slowly poisoning yourself. Your body is like out of whack, right? And so whenever someone says to me, hey, you're fat, I say it's not my fault. It's not my fault. Now, if it is my fault because I know better, right? If I'm enlightened and I know that food is bad for me, but I still persist on eating it because I'm overweight now, I need to lose weight. But it's hard because the system around me does not make it easy, right? It's more expensive. I have to go to the farmer's market if I want like actual food with nutrition, right? The food has GMO. Our bodies were, for over a long period of time, you know, the body's got used to the food that, you know, we'll say God-given food, right? And then we modified it. We started doing GMO for higher crop yield, a bunch of reasons why we went GMO. Now, when we in GMO, did we also make the food less nutritious? Could be, right? So we have to eat more of it, right? So our body never gets the signal of we're full because it's like, oh, you're feeding me this food and it's not nutritious. It's not giving me what I need to operate. Give me more. So now we're stuffing our face. Do you think people were in the past that they didn't have the same urges we did to eat?
well, you know, yeah, that's a good question. So I don't think they had the same urges, because so I think when people started eating meat, they were able to go like days without eating. If they had water, you know, some nuts out of a tree, seeds out of a tree, you know, they'll find ways to preserve the meat, and that's
Natural
so
preservatives, so like salt, right?
salt, yeah, the sun, you know, dry it out. So we get addicted, and the fiber is gone. So where the bread should be in the pyramid should be like like insoluble fiber or something like that, you know. So because we go to bread because we really are craving fiber, you know, like, oh, I need bread with this meal, but no, it's
What's
like,
the best way to know if you're getting enough fiber?
what's the best way to know? Like, you don't have
Yeah.
like cravings for bread,
I
and you
would
know,
say it's your bowel movements. Like if you
well, yeah,
look at
yeah,
if you look at your shit and you're like, it doesn't look like there was much fiber there, right? Like it's not hard to know if you're getting enough or not.
yeah.
You don't need to test. You don't need to test to know if you're getting enough fiber or not. If I'm eating, like if broccoli is a big portion of my diet, because I've done, you know, I'm a kind of an extreme guy. Like I'll go and do a diet with just very limited stuff, right? Just to see, to cut or, you know, cut weight or to, you know, clear my mind, have sharper thinking. If broccoli is a big part of it, you know, my bowel movements are solid, right? If I'm eating the what's it called, SAD, the Standard American Diet, really great acronym, then, you know, forget about it. You don't want to look.
Weird.
You don't want to look at what's going on down there.
It gets weird. No, I get you. No, that's true. That's true. And people, we all don't really realize it, and we don't do that. We don't see what foods work for us and how we feel after we eat it. So,
like if you eat food and then you feel super sluggish, would that have worked for your ancestors? There's a fucking bear coming for them, and they just eat a burger and like, all right, okay, let this bear kill me. I don't feel sluggish, right?
But I'm depressed.
I'm depressed. What's causing my depression? Well, have you looked at the food? No.
But you know, we don't even. A lot of studies say we don't need to eat like certain grains that we eat every day. Certain grains like wheat. You know, I think there's a reason why we use wheat, but I think it's the iron amount, the iron content, because back in, you know, certain times in America, when food was scarce, we needed certain things. So that's why like the calories are so high, and also we use wheat because it has that iron that we needed, you know. So
there's a great book called Wheat Belly, talks about how the wheat is just horrible for us, because so you're not allowed, so there's no GMO wheat, right? They didn't modify the wheat because wheat is a big export out of the US. And so if we modified it, we wouldn't be able to export money. The reason why we didn't GMO is because of money. Okay. Question for you, Fede. When your media, how does it portray the food? Do the elected officials ever talk about the food? Is it front and center, or it's just like, it is what it is?
No, this year they talk a lot because we have a new law that you need to like put warnings on packagings, and if some food has, I know, too much sugar, too much fat, too much calories, you need to put one octagon for each thing that you are violating or something like that. So now all of our food is full of octagons with warnings.
Now you realize it, right?
Yeah. I think it's a good thing because there's a lot of things that you think they are healthy, but they're not. Because when you were little, they told you, I don't know, you need to, eat yogurt. Most of the yogurts are full of sugar.
Unless you're eating like Greek, yogurt that's like very low in sugar and high in protein. And the rest is just, you're just eating sugar. Very addictive. They say it's worse than cocaine.
Yeah.
You're just lying with yogurt.
Those kind of things, I think it was good. But I think the main issue is that they don't teach you how to eat in school.
Yeah.
And that's the main problem, is that.
Isn't that funny? One of the most important thing they completely, well, I take that back. I have had nutrition classes. They do exist. But you know what they're teaching is the bullshit. They're teaching like eat bread, eat poisoned bread. So they do teach you, but they teach you the wrong thing.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if if you teach people how they should eat, but as we were saying, like eating well is expensive. Having a good diet is really expensive. So maybe you're teaching a kid that he needs to eat really well, but they just can't because of the economy at home or whatever. So that's hard. I don't know.
And the government doesn't subsidize good food. They subsidize bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff, man.
All right. Well, we're at 30-minute mark. I think we got through a lot of stuff. We all agree the food is bullshit. Eat organic if possible, if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, and you can only eat bad food, then fasting helps because it helps you reset.
Yeah.
Poison yourself. Stop poisoning yourself for a while. Let your body will fix itself, and it'll start. If you give it enough time to process the bad food, and then give enough time to then fight off the cancer, your immune system will do it.
Yeah, your body is always trying to regenerate new cells in the organs, everywhere. So
thanks, guys.